In this video, I'm going to go through how to apply lash extensions. Start by sterilising your hands. Prep 2 silk pads or under eye patches and pre-cut 4 pieces of micropore tape. If you are using silk pads, separate them and detack them on the back of your hand so that they are not too sticky. I would always use eye patches or silk pads. I don't think using just the micropore tape is a good idea for the thin skin under the eye. I found some really cool lash silk pads with guides on them. You could use these as you're beginning to do lash extensions to help you figure out which lash to put on the client next. First off, I start by putting a silk pad under the eye. You may be using eye pads or silicone pads. Use these instead if you have them. After the silk pad goes on, normally I don't have all the lower lashes stuck down, so I will cut 4 pieces of micropore tape. Then I'll apply 2 of those cut pieces quite close to the waterline to make sure all of the lashes are stuck down. From this point on, the client can keep their eyes closed, and I let them know that they should keep their eyes closed. I prime the lashes with primer pads or with a liquid primer with microfiber brushes. This will help remove any protein from any makeup or mascara that has been left on the lashes, and it will help with the glue adhering for the longest time so that a client will get a good length of time out of their lash extensions. By taping the lid of the hooded eye, you'll be moving the hooded lid out of the way so that you can see the lashes. If you detack the tape, you will not pull out any eyebrows. This is also a good tip for clients with downward turned lashes. This helps lift them up and makes your job easier to attach the lashes. On this client, I'm going to use Sea Curl lashes. I'm going to do a blend of lashes. I'm going to try and blend them in to give her the most natural set. When I say natural, Sea Curl doesn't look completely natural. It will look like she has lash extensions on. I'd probably have to go down to B Curl, or even then I'd probably have to look at sticking to the same size as her lashes. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 11s on the outer corner, then a blend of 11 and 12s, then 12s nearer the middle, then coming through to 11 and 12s to the inner eye. We're now going to do 10s, and then I do 9s. Now that I am ready and know which size and shape of lashes I am going to use, I prep my lashes and glue. If I'm using individual strip lashes, I pull a strip off the tray and stick it to the back of my hand. If I'm using loose lashes, I dispense some into the silicone dish. I wouldn't dispense all sizes, just dispense 1 or 2 to start with, like 11 or 12s. If you're new to lash extensions and you have several sizes on your silicone dish, you can find that you get them mixed up. So until you have a trained eye, just dispense a couple at a time. Now you can get glue ready. If you're using a ring and cup, press the cup securely into the ring holder. Then wear the ring on your finger. Dispense some glue into the cup. You don't need heaps of glue. If you're using a crystal or jade stone, dispense a drop or 2 directly onto the stone. Depending on the brand of glue you are using, it should be kept cool in the fridge in between lash extension treatments. Some glue will need to be taken out of the fridge 2 to 3 hours before the lash treatment. So some actually need to be at room temperature for best use. You really need to find out which is the best temperature for your semi-permanent glue from your supplier. Using your fine point tweezers, retrieve 1 lash at a time. If an individual lash strip, pull off a lash. If you're using loose lashes, turn the lash dish so that the lash that you want has the tip furthest away from you. Tap the lash to make it sit up on its end, and then pick up the tip. Dip the lash into the glue so that you have 1 to 3 beads of glue on the lash. Start with the outer corner of the eye. I'm starting with 11Cs. They are 0.15mm thickness. Isolate one lash with your fine point tweezers. Swipe the lash with glue on it down the lash so that it has some glue on it. Then place the lash close to the natural root of the lash as you can, without touching the skin. You must not touch the skin with the glue. If you do touch the skin with the semi-permanent glue, you need to remove it straight away. In this industry, a lot of beauticians will pride themselves on saying that they only deal with isolated lashes, and this is what isolated lashes is. It's when you single out one lash, you dip the lash extension that's within your tweezers into 3 little dots or 2 dots of glue, and then you apply that lash to one lash. You also try to make sure that it's not touching any other lashes as it dries. That's why having a glue that dries fast is really helpful. As I work on lash extensions, sometimes I can get 1/4 of the way through and I think, oh my god, this looks so bad. They're not all perfectly patterned, they don't look really nice yet, but you've got to realize that you have to keep going, and as you get about halfway through, you will be seeing a lovely pattern forming. You'll see that some of those lashes that look like they were facing a weird way, unless crazy weird way where you should remove it, you'll see that they're just crossing over each other and they're looking more natural than a patterned, perfect type of lash set. So what I will say about this lash extension set that I did, because the camera was over my right hand shoulder, I like to normally lean them more closer to the outer of the eye, whereas they're not leaning as much to the outer of the eye as I would like. So this set just taught me that when you are so used to sitting in one position the same way all the time and looking at a set of eyelashes from that perfect right down the nose kind of centered angle, you can do your best work. Just sitting slightly off to the side so that I could film this made them not quite as perfect as I would have liked them to be. I don't think they're horribly bad, but it was just something I noticed from making this film. If you have too much glue on your lash, you can remove some by just patting it on the lash tape. So you can see as I put the lashes on, I then separate them out from the other ones, and I keep separating as I go. So I keep kind of preening the lashes as I go. Some will actually, they will stick to the other lashes even though you've tried really, really hard to make sure that they don't. You will get that happening, and you just need to try and separate them gently. You obviously don't want to take out the client's own natural lash. It will hurt them, and also want to hold on to our natural lashes as much as we can. Once I get 1/4 of the way through with my 11 size, I then start doing a 12 lash, then an 11, then a 12, then an 11, till I feel like I'm getting to the center of the eye, and then I'll start just shifting to solely 12s in the center of the eye. Because I think it's quite nice for the longer length to be right above the pupil. It's a little bit deceiving. Sometimes what you think is the center of the eye from the eye being shut can actually be a little bit further along to the inner of the eye. So don't be afraid to take those bigger ones, probably to the length of where it looks like you have 1/4 of those left to do. When you're going through and preening the lashes as you go, you find some lashes you've missed. You just go back through and put more lashes in where you've missed some. I like to apply lashes to all lashes unless there's a very, very small baby lash and I think, no, that lash is too big, it won't hold it. I might decide just to put a little lash in there so that it will support it, and also remembering that our lashes are not all perfectly one size. They're not all like size 11s all the way across. That's very fake looking. So by putting a little smaller 10 in there in between some 12s I'm doing is not going to look crazy silly. It's actually going to make it look more natural. One thing that I noticed that I do that I would say probably another lash tech would say that they wouldn't like me doing that. I kind of use the tip of my finger to shift the lashes out of the way, and I'm doing that right here, and then I get my tweezers in there in a way to separate out the lash. So I don't tend to use that fork action, that separation action with my left-handed tweezers, if that makes sense. I'm kind of pushing aside all to the right the lashes that I've worked on, and I'm looking for one lash, and then I'm separating that lash from the left hand side, so I'm making sure I'm getting one lash. I sterilised my hands before I begin, so I don't really expect that I have any oils on my fingers that will affect the semi-permanent glue. And don't forget, I'm touching the tip of the lashes. I'm not touching the base where the glue has been applied. So I'm happy with this being the way that I work. And like I say, if another lash tech watches this and says, oh no, that I wouldn't do it that way, that's fine. That's not the way that you do it. Do it the way that works best for you. If you need to separate out those lashes from each other by having the left and the right side of the tweezer on each side of the lash that you want to apply to, then do that. That's how I was taught in the beginning. When I get to the centre of the eye, because I've been doing 11s, then 11-12 blends, I then start putting a lot of 12s in. So right through the centre of the eye, I put my biggest eyelashes in, and this is just for this type of set. You can change how you apply lashes and the sizes that you do for different eye shapes. I know that this model looks really nice having her lashes done this way. We've done them before, and it's really pretty. So you're following naturally what nature creates. So at about 2/3 in, that's when I will switch back to the 11-12 type of blend. So I'll go 11, then a 12, then an 11, then a 12. Maybe there'll be some smaller ones in there that I'll go 11, 11, 12, but I just use their own natural lashes to guide me. Once I get to the inner corner of the eye, I like to size down by about 3 sizes. So I start trying 10, then I do 9, then I can do 8. So I'm trying to bring it right down. It's going to get tricky when you get to the inner corner of the eye. For one, the nose is a little bit in the way, so you can get them to lean their head to the side if you need. Secondly, I notice on a lot of clients, this part of the eye has very clustered lashes. They're really thick and they're quite congested within the inner corner of the eye. So it can be quite hard to separate these little lashes out to get little lashes in. Just be patient and take it one by one. Sometimes it's easy just to be like, oh, I've gone far enough in and I'm just going to just leave it at that. When you open the eyes, you'll be like, oh, that didn't blend down as well as it should have. So continue on and try and get the inner corner lashes as much as you can. When you right into those inner corner lashes that are very tiny though, stick to tiny lashes because it's going to annoy the client. Before finishing the application of the lashes, go through and check all lashes are separated. Separate any which are sticking to one another very carefully. If they are stuck together with big lumps of glue, you will need to remove the bulky glue and that lash by using microfiber applicators and lash glue remover. By lifting up the eye gently, I look for any lashes that may have attached to the bottom lashes. If they have attached, I just try and separate them with tweezers. I try and do this as gently as I can so that it's comfortable for the client. After the lashes have been completed, I brush through with a mascara brush the Nuvo sealant. The Nuvo sealant is optional. Then I'll use an ear blower to blow air through the lashes to dry them, and then I'll preen them one more time just to make sure that they're all separated and comfortable for the client. Support the skin as you remove the pad. Stretch or press the skin as you remove the pad. Turn the lights down, then the client can open her eyes. The client should feel no stinging or any fumes. It should be perfectly comfortable. I have seen other therapists suggest to find the final lashes that are left before you take the tape off. You can detack some tape and use that to stick back the lashes that are already completed. Then you can see the natural lashes that are remaining. I've only done this a couple of times myself, and it definitely has not damaged the lashes I've completed, but I don't tend to use this technique very much. I give my clients a mascara brush to take care of their lashes at home. So let's say if they wake up in the morning and they have a few that are off in weird directions, then they can use the brush to tidy them up. Clean up your lash glue nib by wiping any excess glue off before you put the lid back on. If you don't do this, your lid is probably going to get glued on and you probably won't be able to get that lid off. Also, you can use a needle or a toothpick to clean down the nib of the bottle and ensure that it isn't getting blocked. You could also put a piece of blue tack on the bottom of the glue so that the bottle doesn't fall over and glue falls out of the tip.